U.S. oaks military aid to Taiwan under Program for Sovereign Nations. China's Xi likely to skip G20 summit in India. U.S. military in talks to develop port in Philippines facing Taiwan. U.S. curbs Nvidia and AMD AI chip exports to some Middle East countries. Japan's PM visits fish market and vows to help fisheries. India to launch mission to study the sun. 5 million bees escape after hives fall off truck. Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam reject China's latest South China Sea map.
Hello, this is Jolie. Thank you so much for joining us on Funday News. It is Friday, September 1st, and here are your top stories. The Biden administration has approved the first ever U.S. military transfer to Taiwan under a program generally reserved for assistance to sovereign independent states. The package is modest, only $80 million, but the implication of using the so-called foreign military financing program to provide it is different from previous arms sales to Taiwan. Despite this, U.S. officials were quick to say that the provision of FMF funding to Taiwan did not represent a change in policy.
According to an Associated Press report, the United States has provided foreign military sales, FMS, to Taiwan for years. FMF simply enables eligible partner nations to purchase U.S. defense articles, services, and training through either FMS or, for a limited number of countries, through the Foreign Military Financing of Direct Commercial Contracts, FMF, DCC, program. Experts say that the language used implies that Taiwan is or could be compared to a nation, or a country.
Reuters reported, citing sources familiar with the matter in India and China, that Chinese President Xi Jinping is likely to skip a summit of G20 leaders in India next week. 2 Indian officials, 1 diplomat based in China, and 1 official working for the government of another G20 country said Premier Li Qiang is expected to represent Beijing at the September 9th to 10th meeting in New Delhi. The sources in China, 2 of whom said they were informed by Chinese officials, said they were not aware of the reason for his expected absence.
The summit in India had been viewed as a venue at which Xi may meet with U.S. President Joe Biden, who has confirmed his attendance, as the 2 superpowers seek to stabilize relations soured by a range of trade and geopolitical tensions. Xi last met Biden on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia last November. Russian President Vladimir Putin has already announced that he will not be traveling to New Delhi and will send Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov instead.
A local governor and 2 other officials told Reuters that the U.S. military is in talks to develop a civilian port in the remote northernmost islands of the Philippines that would boost American access to strategically located islands facing Taiwan. The provincial governor of the Batanes Islands, Mary Lou Keiko, told Reuters she had sought funding from the U.S. for the building of an alternative port there, which was intended to assist the unloading of cargo from the capital Manila during rough seas in the monsoon season.
Keiko said the plans were to build a port on Bosco Island, where local authorities say high waves often make the existing port inaccessible, and that a decision could be made in October. 2 other Filipino officials said U.S. troops had visited Batanes recently to discuss the port. Keiko confirmed the visit, saying they came, one time to assess the proposed alternative port. 1. A senior military official said the Filipino armed forces were interested in radar and improving monitoring capabilities in the area.
The U.S. expanded the restriction of exports of sophisticated Nvidia and AMD artificial intelligence chips beyond China to other regions, including some countries in the Middle East. Nvidia said this week that the curbs, which affect its A100 and H100 chips designed to speed up machine learning tasks, would not have an immediate material impact on its results. AMD also received an informed letter with similar restrictions, adding that the move has no material impact on its revenue.
U.S. officials usually impose export controls for national security reasons. A similar move announced last year signaled an escalation of the U.S. crackdown on China's technological capabilities, but it was not immediately clear what risks were posed by exports to the Middle East. Nvidia this week did not specify which countries in the Middle East were affected. Nvidia does not provide a revenue breakout from the Middle East. Chips for Nvidia and almost every other major chip firm are manufactured in Taiwan.
Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida sampled seafood and talked to workers at Tokyo's Toyosu fish market Thursday to assess the impact of China's ban on Japanese seafood in reaction to the release of treated radioactive wastewater from the wrecked Fukushima Daiichi plant to the sea. One of the seafood business operators told Kishida that sales of his scallops, which are largely exported to China, have dropped 90% since the treated water discharge.
Kishida told reporters after the market visit, "We will compile support measures that stand by the fisheries operators." He said, "We will also resolutely call on China to scrap its trade restrictions that have no scientific basis." The impact of China's ban on Japanese seafood has spilled over to tourism. Transport and Tourism Minister Tetsuo Saito has said cancellations of Chinese group tourists and inquiries about food safety in Japan have been on the rise and that officials are assessing the situation.
Days after India's successful moon mission, the country is now setting its sights on the sun. According to the Indian Space Research Organization, the Aditya L1 spacecraft will be launched from the Sriharikota spaceport on September 2nd in a bid to study the sun and its effect on space weather. An ISRO report stated Aditya, which refers to the sun in Hindi, is to be placed in a halo orbit around the Lagrangian point 1 of the Sun-Earth system, where the sun can be observed without any obstructions.
According to NASA, Lagrange points are positions in space where gravitational forces of two large masses produce enhanced regions of attraction and repulsion. The resulting force can be used to remain in position and reduce fuel consumption, and can be likened to parking spots for spacecraft. The mission would also allow for the study of solar wind, which could potentially cause disturbances on Earth, such as disrupting communications and navigation systems.
Police near Toronto have warned drivers to keep their car windows closed after a truck spilled crates carrying 5 million bees onto the road. Holton Regional Police said they received a call about 6:15 a.m. on Wednesday, reporting the bee crates had come loose from a truck and spilled onto the road in Burlington, Ontario. Constable Ryan Anderson told CBC News crates were literally on the road and swarms of bees were flying around. He said it was quite the scene.
Anderson said, "We're not sure how or what exactly took place, but at some point the boxes containing bees or beehives slid off the trailer and spilled all over the road." The scene prompted police to warn drivers to close their windows as they passed by and for pedestrians to avoid the area. By about 9:15 a.m., police said most of the 5 million bees had been safely collected and the crates were being hauled away. Some crates had been left behind for the uncollected bees to return to them on their own.
The Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam have rejected a map released by China that denotes its claims to sovereignty, including the South China Sea. The Philippines called on China on Thursday to act responsibly and abide by its obligation under international law and a 2016 arbitral ruling that had declared the line had no legal grounds. Late on Thursday, Vietnam's foreign ministry said China's claims based on the map have no value and violate Vietnamese and international laws.
The map was different to a narrower version submitted by China to the United Nations in 2009 of the South China Sea that included its so-called 9-dash line. The latest map was of a broader geographical area and had a line with 10 dashes that included Taiwan, the Republic of China, similar to a 1948 map of China. Asked about the latest map, Taiwan Foreign Ministry spokesperson Jeff Liu said Taiwan was absolutely not a part of the People's Republic of China.
The answer for yesterday was B, reversal. The Financial Times says the move represents a complete reversal of previous U.S. policy. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of U.S. curbing Nvidia and AMD AI chip exports. Sophisticated, 机器、体系等先进的、精密的. Medical techniques are becoming more sophisticated all the time. Revenue, 财政、税收的收益. The company's annual revenues rose by 30%. Escalate 使逐步扩大，不断恶化。The fighting escalated into a full-scale war. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Jolie, your host. I'll see you next time.